so today we're diving into aging.
Yeah, aging. The
Yeah.
science of it. You sent over some really interesting articles on this.
Yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, so we're not just talking about like wrinkles and gray hair, the superficial stuff.
Right.
This is about really understanding the biological processes that drive aging. And scientists have actually identified what they call the 9 hallmarks of aging.
9 hallmarks.
Nine. Yeah, so think of these as like the key players in the aging process.
Got it.
Each one kind of contributing to, the decline that we see in our bodies over time. And really understanding these hallmarks is crucial because it opens the door to interventions
Oh, wait.
that could potentially slow down or even reverse some aspects of aging.
So we're not just stuck with, our genetic destiny.
Exactly.
We can actually influence how we age.
Potentially, yeah. It's a very exciting field.
Okay, I am intrigued. Let's dive in. What's the first hallmark?
Okay, so the first one is genomic instability.
Genomic instability.
Yeah. You know how, like, if a book has too many typos, it's hard to read and understand?
Yeah.
Well, our DNA is kind of like that. It accumulates errors over time.
Yeah.
And these errors can be caused by things like radiation, just normal cellular processes.
Wow.
And they can lead to all sorts of problems, including cancer.
So our DNA is getting messy as we age.
In a way, yeah. It's getting
Yeah.
a little bit damaged. And the thing is, our cells actually have these amazing repair mechanisms
Okay.
to fix those DNA errors.
Right.
But those mechanisms become less efficient over time.
Okay.
So one of the exciting areas of research is figuring out how to bolster those repair mechanisms to keep our DNA, cleaner for longer.
That's pretty incredible. It's like having a tiny repair crew working inside our cells.
Yeah, that's a very elegant system.
All right, what's the next hallmark?
Okay, so the next one is telomere attrition.
Telomere attrition.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed the little plastic tips on your shoelaces?
Yeah.
They keep the laces from fraying, right?
Right.
Well, telomeres are kind of like that. They're protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
So every time a cell divides, these telomeres get a bit shorter.
Okay.
And eventually they get so short that the cell can no longer divide properly.
Uh-huh.
And that contributes to aging.
So it's like a ticking clock for our cells.
Yeah, you could say that.
Is there any way to rewind that clock?
Well, that's what researchers are trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And there's some evidence that certain lifestyle factors, like exercise and diet,
Okay.
can actually help preserve telomere length.
Interesting.
So that's one area where we might be able to have some influence.
Definitely need to hear more about those lifestyle factors later on.
We'll get to that.
For now, let's move on to the next hallmark.
Okay, so the next one is epigenetic alterations.
Epigenetic alterations. That sounds a little complicated.
It is a bit complex, but it's really fascinating. Think of it this way. You have the same DNA your whole life, right?
Right.
But how that DNA is expressed can change over time. So epigenetics is kind of like a set of switches that can turn genes on or off.
It's not just the genes themselves, it's how they're being used.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that our environment and our lifestyle choices can actually influence those epigenetic switches.
Okay.
So things like diet, stress, even exposure to toxins can impact how our genes are expressed.
Wow.
And that, in turn, can affect our aging process.
So our environment can actually influence how our genes behave. That's kind of mind-blowing.
It's a very dynamic system.
Okay, what's next?
All right, so the next hallmark is loss of proteostasis.
Loss of what?
Proteostasis.
Okay.
So remember, proteins are like the building blocks of our cells, right?
Yeah, I remember that from biology class.
Yeah. They're essential for pretty much everything our bodies do.
Okay.
Now our bodies are constantly making and breaking down proteins.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very dynamic process,
Okay.
but as we age, that process becomes less efficient.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a factory that's getting a little bit backed up. Orders are piling up. There's not enough workers to keep up.
I can picture that.
And so damaged proteins start to accumulate, and that leads to cellular dysfunction.
Okay.
And that contributes to age-related diseases.
So it's like our cells are getting cluttered with these damaged proteins.
Exactly. And so researchers are working on ways to improve that cellular housekeeping, to clear out those damaged proteins and maintain a healthy balance.
Okay, I'm starting to see how these hallmarks all fit together.
Yeah.
Kind of paint a picture of how our bodies age.
They're all interconnected.
What's next on the list?
Okay, so the next one is deregulated nutrient sensing.
Deregulated nutrient sensing.
Yeah, our bodies have these sophisticated systems for sensing and responding to nutrients.
Okay.
These systems tell our cells, when to grow, when to divide, when to repair themselves.
That makes sense.
But as we age, those systems can become less sensitive.
Mm.
It's kind of like a thermostat that's not working properly.
Right.
It can't regulate the temperature effectively. And similarly, deregulated nutrient sensing can lead to metabolic imbalances and contribute to age-related diseases like diabetes and heart disease.
So it's not just about what we eat, but how our bodies respond to those nutrients.
Exactly. It's all about that balance.
That's a really new way of thinking about it.
Yeah. And this hallmark is closely tied to some of the most promising interventions for longevity that we'll talk about later.
Okay, looking forward to that. Let's keep going. What's next?
All right, so next up is mitochondrial dysfunction.
Now, those are the powerhouses of the cell, right?
That's right. They're responsible for producing energy,
Mm-hmm.
but with age, their function declines. They produce less energy.
Okay.
And they can also release harmful molecules called free radicals.
Free radicals, I heard those are bad.
They can be, yeah. They can damage DNA proteins, other cellular components,
Uh-huh.
and that accelerates the aging process.
Oh.
It's kind of like a slow burn that contributes to a wide range of age-related diseases.
So it's not just the energy decline, it's also these harmful byproducts.
Right, and that's why some researchers believe that targeting mitochondrial health could be a key strategy for extending lifespan.
Interesting. Okay, we've covered 6 out of 9 hallmarks. What's next?
Okay, so the next one is cellular senescence.
Cellular senescence.
So when cells become damaged or stressed, they can enter this state called senescence,
Uh-huh.
and they essentially become what some scientists call zombie cells.
Zombie cells. That sounds a little ominous.
It's not a very flattering term, but they basically stop dividing,
Okay.
but they don't die off like they should.
Oh.
So they kind of linger around and release harmful substances that damage nearby healthy cells.
Oh, so they're not just useless. They're actively contributing to the problem.
Yeah, unfortunately they are. And as we age, those zombie cells accumulate, and they contribute to inflammation and tissue damage.
Just like our own cells are turning against us.
In a way,
Yeah.
yeah. But researchers are actually actively exploring ways to eliminate these senescent cells. There are some promising approaches that involve using drugs called senolytics that specifically target and destroy these zombie cells.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 more to go.
Yes.
Tell me about stem cell exhaustion.
Okay, so stem cells are amazing. They're like the body's repair crews,
Okay.
capable of replenishing damaged tissues and maintaining organ function.
Yeah.
But the problem is that our stem cell reserves decline over time.
No.
It's kind of like running out of spare parts for a car.
Uh-huh.
Eventually it becomes harder to keep things running smoothly.
So not only are our cells getting damaged, but our ability to repair that damage is diminishing.
Exactly. It's a double whammy.
Yeah.
And that contributes to a decline in tissue regeneration and repair.
Okay, that makes sense. And finally, we've got altered intercellular communication. What is that?
So our cells are constantly communicating with each other.
Right.
It's the complex network of signals that keep everything running smoothly. But as we age, that communication can get disrupted.
What causes that disruption?
A number of factors can contribute, like inflammation, oxidative stress changes, and hormone levels.
Oh.
All these things can interfere with the signaling pathways that cells use to communicate.
And what are the consequences of that?
Well, it can lead to a whole cascade of problems. Impaired immune function, increased inflammation, a decline in tissue repair. It's kind of like a city with faulty traffic lights.
Oh.
Things start to break down, chaos ensues.
Wow. So we've got DNA errors, shrinking telomeres, zombie cells, stem cell exhaustion, and communication breakdowns.
Yeah.
It sounds like aging is a pretty complex process.
It is, but the good news is that by understanding these 9 hallmarks, we can start to develop targeted interventions to address them.
Okay.
And potentially slow down or even reverse some aspects of aging.
That's what I want to hear about. So let's move on to those interventions.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's start with some of the most talked about interventions like diet and exercise.
Sure.
These aren't just buzzwords, you know?
Yeah.
There's solid research behind them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for adding years to my life, but sometimes healthy habits feel a little, well, boring. Let's be honest.
I hear you.
So give me the exciting stuff. Are there any cutting-edge interventions on the horizon?
Absolutely. Yeah, researchers are exploring some fascinating medications that seem to target these hallmarks directly.
Okay.
One that's been creating a lot of buzz is rapamycin.
Rapamycin.
That sounds familiar.
It's actually an immunosuppressant,
Okay.
originally used to prevent organ rejection in transplant patients,
Right.
but studies have shown that it can extend lifespan in various organisms, from yeast to worms to mice.
Wow. So it's not just about suppressing the immune system.
Right.
It's somehow impacting the aging process itself.
It seems to be,
How does
yeah.
that work?
Well, it seems to target one of the hallmarks we discussed earlier, MTOR.
Oh, right.
Remember how we talked about MTR being involved in cell growth and metabolism?
Uh-huh.
Well, rapamycin inhibits the MTOR pathway,
Okay.
essentially putting the brakes on those processes. So by slowing down MTOR, we might be able to slow down aging.
Potentially, yeah. It's a very exciting area of research.
Okay, but I'm guessing there's some caveats here. No such thing as a free lunch, right?
Right. You're right to be cautious. While the potential of rapamycin is exciting, it's not a miracle drug.
Okay.
It does have side effects,
Mm.
and more research is needed to fully understand its long-term effects on humans.
Okay, so rapamycin is definitely one to watch, but maybe not something to rush out and take just yet.
Exactly.
What other medications are showing promise in the anti-aging arena?
Another intriguing one is metformin,
Metformin.
a drug commonly used to treat type 2 diabetes.
Oh, yeah. I know someone who takes that for their diabetes.
Yeah, it's a very common drug.
So what's the connection to aging?
Well, studies suggest that metformin might have anti-aging effects by activating AMPK,
AMPK.
which plays a key role in cellular energy regulation.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about deregulated nutrient sensing being a hallmark of aging? Well, metformin seems to help restore some of that balance.
So it's like giving ourselves a little nudge to use energy more efficiently.
Exactly. It kind of mimics some of the benefits of calorie restriction
Oh, interesting.
without actually having to restrict calories drastically.
Okay, now that's something I can get behind. Are there any studies in humans showing that metformin actually slows down aging?
There's a lot of research happening right now.
Okay.
Some observational studies have shown promising results,
Mm-hmm.
but we need more rigorous clinical trials to confirm its true anti-aging potential in healthy individuals.
Right. It's important to separate correlation from causation.
Absolutely.
So we've got rapamycin and metformin on the list of potential anti-aging medications. Anything else on the horizon?
Researchers are also looking into other medications, including statins,
Statins.
those cholesterol-lowering drugs.
Oh, right.
They seem to have anti-inflammatory effects, which we know are beneficial for overall health and potentially for slowing down aging as well.
Interesting. So statins might be doing more than just lowering cholesterol.
Yeah.
They could be impacting those inflammatory pathways that contribute to aging.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a bit and dive deeper into those lifestyle interventions we touched on earlier.
Right.
Starting with exercise.
Okay.
It's not just about fitting into your genes.
Right.
It's about promoting cellular health and longevity.
I'm all for adding years to my life.
Yeah.
And life to my years. So what kind of exercise are we talking about here?
Sure.
Is it all about hitting the gym and lifting weights?
Well, strength training is definitely important,
Sure.
especially as we age, to maintain muscle mass and strength.
Yeah.
But endurance exercise like running, swimming, cycling has also been shown to have profound effects on lifespan.
So what's the science behind endurance training and aging?
Well, there are several mechanisms at play.
Okay.
Endurance training boosts mitochondrial function.
Right. The powerhouses that decline with age.
Exactly. It also improves insulin sensitivity, helps regulate blood sugar, reduces inflammation, and even stimulates the growth of new brain cells.
Hold on. Exercise can make our brains younger.
It's true. Studies have shown that regular exercise, especially aerobic exercise, can actually increase the volume of the hippocampus,
Wow.
a brain region crucial for memory and learning.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm sold. I need to get moving. What about specifics?
Sure.
How much exercise do we need to reap these anti-aging benefits?
Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity,
Okay.
or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity aerobic activity per week, spread throughout the week.
Got it.
And don't forget strength training.
Okay.
Aim for 2 sessions per week, working all major muscle groups.
All right, now on to the other pillar of healthy aging diet. I know this is a huge topic.
It is.
So let's focus on what the research tells us about dietary changes that can specifically impact aging.
Okay, so one area that's been studied extensively is calorie restriction.
Okay.
Studies in various organisms from yeast to primates have shown that reducing calorie intake without causing malnutrition can extend lifespan and delay age-related diseases.
But who wants to live a life of constant deprivation? Is there a more sustainable way to get some of those benefits without feeling like we're always on a diet?
Absolutely. Intermittent fasting has become a popular approach.
Right.
It involves cycling between periods of eating and fasting,
Okay.
and it seems to mimic some of the beneficial effects of calorie restriction without requiring constant calorie counting.
So we're talking about things like time-restricted feeding or alternate day fasting.
Exactly. Those methods can help improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and even boost cellular repair processes like autophagy,
Autophagy.
where our cells essentially clean up and recycle damaged components.
Okay, that's good to know. What about the types of food we should be eating?
Sure.
Any specific recommendations for an anti-aging diet?
Research suggests that a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats is beneficial for longevity. These foods are packed with antioxidants, fiber-essential nutrients that protect our cells from damage and support overall health.
So it's not about some crazy restrictive diet, but more about focusing on whole, unprocessed foods that nourish our bodies. You know how we're always hearing about the importance of gut health?
Yes.
Well, it turns out that a healthy gut microbiome might actually play a role in slowing down the aging process, too.
That's a great point. Our gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria that live in our digestive tract,
Right.
plays a critical role in our overall health and might even influence how we age.
Mm.
A diverse and balanced gut microbiome has been linked to better immune function, reduced inflammation, and even improved cognitive health.
So what can we do to support a healthy gut microbiome?
Eating a wide variety of plant-based foods,
Okay.
including fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains is key. These foods provide prebiotics,
Prebiotics.
which are essentially food for the beneficial bacteria in our gut.
Okay.
You can also consider incorporating fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi into your diet,
Right.
as they contain probiotics, the actual beneficial bacteria.
So eating for a healthy gut is not just about digestion.
Right.
It's about potentially impacting the aging process as well. That's fascinating. Any other dietary tips for promoting longevity?
Some studies suggest that reducing protein intake, especially from animal sources, might also have anti-aging effects.
Wait, really? I thought protein was essential for building and repairing tissues.
It is, but excessive protein, especially certain amino acids, can actually stimulate the mTOR pathway,
Right.
which, as we discussed, can accelerate aging.
Okay, so it's all about finding that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Enough protein to meet our needs,
Yeah.
but not so much that it's driving those aging processes.
Right. And remember, everyone's needs are different. It's always a good idea to consult with your doctor or a registered dietitian to personalize your diet based on your individual needs and health status.
Good advice. I feel like we've learned so much about how to actually influence the aging process, both through lifestyle changes and these potential future interventions.
It's exciting. It is. It's a rapidly evolving field.
I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about aging than I was when we started this deep dive.
That's great to hear. You know, it's not about stopping aging altogether. It's about aging healthfully and gracefully.
Exactly. Who wants to live to be 100 if they're not healthy and vibrant? You know what resonates with me is that it's not just about living longer.
Right.
It's about extending our health span.
Exactly.
Those years where we feel our best and can really enjoy life.
I couldn't agree more. It's about adding life to our years, not just years to our lives.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
The 9 hallmarks of aging, potential interventions, practical lifestyle changes. I feel like I've learned a whole new language.
It's a lot to take in, but the main message is one of hope and empowerment.
Yeah.
The science of aging is rapidly advancing, and with that understanding comes the potential to make informed choices
Right.
that can really impact how we age.
I'm curious, though, what happens if we do crack the code of aging?
Yeah.
Like if we could all live to be 150, how would that change society?
That's a big question.
Yeah. It raises a lot of ethical and societal considerations.
Sure.
You know, if we could significantly extend the human lifespan,
Right.
it would have profound implications for everything from healthcare and Social Security to the environment and the economy.
Yeah, we did another deep dive to explore all those implications.
Definitely. But for now, I think the key is to focus on what we can control.
Okay.
Making healthy choices based on the best available science and embracing the aging process as a natural part of life.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to take charge of my own aging journey. I think I'm going to go for a run and then whip up a big salad with all those gut-healthy ingredients we talked about.
That sounds like a great plan. Remember, small changes can make a big difference over time.
Thanks for guiding us through this complex and fascinating world of aging science. Until next time, keep diving deep.